Welcome to Rules to Thrive. I'm so excited that you're here. I know we've been planning for months now to have you on. Can you tell us your name and what do you do?
Absolutely.
And then if you want, you can go into how we met to give a little background on this story for
this
today.
This is a long story.
Long story. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. So I'm Kat Heisler Chance. I am currently the head of partner sales at Google Workspace. Way more interestingly, the way that we met was at the very tail end of my maternity leave in 2023. Oh my gosh. I got a call from my then boss who said, "Hey, we just hired a new boss for you. Oh, by the way, how's your baby?" No, he was very kind. But that was the reason for the call, and that was big news, right? Someone like gearing up after mat leave, going back to work, and that manager was you.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
It was crazy because I didn't know the backstory, and it was interesting because I didn't even know the org structure. The most important thing I want to talk about and be super transparent with our audience is, how do you handle it? I know you came back earlier because you were trying to navigate this, and it's super scary. And knowing you now, I didn't know then, but knowing what you went through, I think you're a champ. But take me through it. Like, how did you navigate it?
From the beginning, I was trying to figure out the best way to optimize mat leave, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just, I was looking at the days and the vacation and what I get paid and what the, long-term disability and all the things that were on the table. Yeah, on the table to maximize going back to work or maximize my mat leave, but always knowing I still, as a mom, really had that itch to go back to work. Yeah. Right? Like, I love being a mom, but even 2.5 months, getting close to 3 months in, I was feeling that pull of just, I love to work. Yeah. I love to work.
Yeah.
So all of that was happening. And I think the news of you coming and the uncertainty of being out of the workforce for a few months, having a new manager, not having a lot of clarity into like what the roles and responsibilities would be.
What's the split?
Like, what's the split? Yeah. What are we doing? How are we doing this? Who is this person?
Yeah. Are they going to come in and replace me and kick
me out? That was my thought.
Yeah.
Immediately, I was like, oh, cool. I'm like, I
don't have a job.
Going back to work to get fired. So great.
I optimized my mat leave, and now I'm going back to not having a job.
Yeah, and that was a risk.
Scary.
And it was probably a silly risk on my part because obviously
I don't think it's silly. If you think about it, you didn't know me. We didn't have a relationship.
Yeah.
A lot of senior leaders come in and bring their own.
Right. But I think what was kind of crazy was I was going to make a gambit to get back and prove that I still had a place at this company and you could have been that leader. You could have been that person to say, yeah, nice to know you. Get out of here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't, I don't need you here.
Yeah. For career-driven women, ambitious women, it is a pause. As much as we don't want to say it is, and you can come back to work, it's a pause and it's a shift. So take me through and take our audience through, how do you plan for it? How to optimize, what to look for options so that people know where to start looking if they're planning?
So I had a very challenging time with fertility. My husband and I had been trying to have a baby for a few years. Then we did IVF, and we did one course of IVF, and it didn't work. Right. So it just, nothing took. It was everything. All the embryos were non-viable. It was heartbreaking. Like, I remember it being one of the saddest moments in my life. And, a lot of women share that story. A lot of people share that story. Right.
Yeah. Trying
and then I'm so confident too that IVF would work. I don't know why. I was just like, we're just gonna science this.
Yeah,
like, we're just gonna make.
And we're gonna make choice which baby it is, and
we'll have our pick of the litter.
Yeah.
Not like zero, nothing. Yeah. And it was very sad. And I remember conferring with my husband, and we're like, all right, we're gonna pause from this, and we'll start again in the new year. Like we'll do IVF again.
Yeah.
And just a few months had passed, and it was my birthday, and I'd just gotten back from Greece with my husband. It was my birthday, and we're out with a bunch of my friends, having this like amazing Italian dinner, like bottles of wine, like private room all on the table. And I remember being like, I don't really want to drink this wine. Like I was like,
that does not sound like you at all.
I know. It was like, wow. So I was like, oh, that's weird. And then a few of us went to an after party at a dive bar, and everyone's like drinking whiskey and this. And I remember I had like one beer and I nursed it the entire like rest of the night. And also very strange. Like my husband and I we got a hotel room, and we're so excited. We were like, we're gonna go out. I took off from work the next day. It was supposed to be like a whole like big fun night out with our friends.
Yeah.
None of that happened. I was tired. I went to bed. And the next morning, we went home. I remember going to take a shower and finding an old expired pregnancy test. And I was like,
let me give it a shot.
Let's see what happens here. I got out of the shower, and voila, I was pregnant.
That's crazy.
I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, everything changed. Like the light changed. And it felt so good. And you know, the pregnancy was mostly smooth, and we had this beautiful baby, and then we had my maternity leave, and it all felt like a blessing, right? And I think it's, as many women have talked about on Rules to Thrive, it's like you never know what your story is going to be. You don't know what's going to work. You don't know what's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if it's something you want, you, in my opinion, should absolutely prioritize it and make it happen for yourself in whatever capacity that you can, because
life is not all about work.
It's not all about work.
Yeah.
Right?
And if it's a priority for you, do not wait. Like we know there's IVF. We know there's options. We know that women are having babies later in life, and this is great to have an option. And I think if you think about it, you know, 20s are your explorative age, and you're navigating and finding out what you love to do in your career. 30s, you're like on this freaking path and you're trying to push through to get to the next level, to make more money, to get to the ambition that you're chasing. If you're an ambitious career woman, and then you're like, what is that?
When do I do this thing?
Yeah. Where is my gap? And in the US, it's what, 2-3 months of disability.
I mean, depending on the company you work with, it's a very short window, right? And you have to figure it out. And we also live in a society where the tribe is very dispersed, right? You don't have a lot of help. You don't have a lot of people to hold it down outside of, you know, people you pay to help you. And that's another hardship that factors into the overall equation about what you can do with the rest of your life when you have a young child at home.
It is very expensive too to consider.
It's incredibly expensive.
So
all of it is expensive.
Not to discourage anyone, but yes, it's a big investment, time, money. Your body completely changes. Everything changes. But I think it's something, like you said, that you have to consider if it's important to you, no matter what age you are. Do not wait too long. I think that's your lesson also is, and I'm hearing this from everyone I talk to. It's like, you never know how long it'll take.
You don't know.
Because we spend our 20s preventing it.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a teen mom in my 20s. So like,
we're still could be teen moms
now.
Yeah.
100%.
So your advice to our audience, start thinking, what does that look like for you if it's in your plan? And then have a conversation with your significant other, with yourself if you're planning to do it on your own, on what that looks like in terms of timing. Yeah. Because you can't say, you know, when I'm 32 or 33, I'm going to
have my baby.
It doesn't work that way.
No, not always.
Not always. So take me through it. You are in your career. You just got promoted.
I was promoted to director about a year and a half, I want to say, before I had Jonah. Okay. About a year and a half. It was still a very challenging time of of change on the team, right? So I worked really, really hard, and I fought really, really hard from the very beginning of my career at Monday to get that director role.
Yeah.
Like it was not handed to me. It was a year-long fight to earn that position and get that position and earn the trust of people who are in a place to say, yes, we want you in this role. It was not easy. And I was, oh my gosh, actually, I got it very quickly after I was pregnant. That's right. Like now I'm kind of putting the times together. So I had 2 people who were already on that team that went from colleagues to people I was managing.
Reports,
Yeah, to reports. Very, very challenging dynamic to get through. I hired some people that I hired one person and that didn't work out. And that was also very challenging. I was first trimester pregnant. So I was mentally, physically exhausted, you know, certainly not the best version of myself in terms of
being a director that you fought
oh my
for.
God, no. Like, you know, I was reactive, I was grumpy, I was hormonal, I was, you know, like all of those cliches. I mean, they're real. Like this is what you go through when you're building a little human being inside your body.
Yeah.
So I felt like I wasn't doing a good job too. And it was just all so hard. And I like pushed through, and then I hired some really great people, and the strategy started really coming together, and we really started seeing some excellent results. And as soon as that was like really revving up, it was time to go have my baby.
Yeah.
You know? And I was excited because I was like, wow, look at all this great momentum. Like things are finally clicking. The right people are here. The right things are happening. All right. Now I have to go to have my baby. And guess what? You're going to come back and you're having a new boss.
Yeah. So let's unfold a few things because I think you have a lot of lessons there.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I talk to a lot of people right now and mentor them, this comes up in every conversation. When you're going from an IC role to a director role, it's a big shift.
Yep.
What do you think are the top lessons you've learned into navigating, really wanting it, knowing you deserve that role? Like, what would your advice to anyone that really wants to pursue that? What should they be doing?
First and foremost is self-advocating. You have to be your own advocate, and you have to be really detail-oriented about capturing your wins and your impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got from a manager. It was like, write down, like take a, sheet of paper and write. You said this too. Like this is like a really great, I think, place where you can take pen to paper and just like have your clippings, like, hey, I did this. I got this great piece of feedback. I think because when you move as fast as I think people who have that ambition are, it's so easy to forget how many amazing things you do a day, right?
Yeah.
Or a week or a month, right? It's so easy to forget about all the good you do and just focus on what's hard, what's not working,
next, what's
so
to fix.
You have to make that space, and you have to document, right? All of those good things. The second thing is like, I've also heard this from other guests, and I love this, and I try to live this too. It's just other people's opinions don't dictate your worth, right? And just having that confidence
in your own ability,
and just because someone says no, that's just, as they say, like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. My favorite quote's still Kris Jenner. The only thing is, when you're hearing a word no, is you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's part of it. But that's hard because, the person who's going to promote you tells you no.
Yeah.
Well, who else are you going to ask, right? But this is really cheesy. I'm just like, just don't give up. Like, it took me 3 years to get to director.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years. One other thing to keep in mind, and reflecting back into my experience, is like, I'm really actually glad I had those 3 years under my belt before I did get into that position, because I think, not to underestimate what the the journey looks like for you to get to a place, because I was so much better in that role because of the time and because of the experience I had leading up to it versus getting it when I first wanted it or expected it, you know? So
I think it also gives you credibility with your team.
Absolutely.
That you've done that job, you know what works, and they come to you with trust that you can help them
really
succeed.
Yeah.
I think that to me has always followed me everywhere, because I've seen people be promoted too fast, and the feedback I've heard from their direct reports, like, they can't help me.
They can't do this.
They're just here to be like one-on-one once a week, and that's that. And you don't want to be that manager. You want to be you want to feel the growth in your team, and you're a big part of that for every person you hired, for sure.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that. I mean, I love that team. They're, you know, some of my pride and joy. I wouldn't have had that team. I wouldn't have been that team if I was director when I wanted to be. And so in a little way, I'm sort of appreciative of the wait and the time, because what we were able to accomplish would not have been if it was a different story. You know?
Yeah, I think it's, even if you're ambitious, take the time to appreciate what you're learning. I think that's what you're trying to portray here. It's like, don't rush it sometimes. Yes, you can be very diligent with what you want and continue reinforcing it with your managers, with your champions, with the other executives, because at the end of the day, that's who makes the decision. But I think, to your point, is actually take the time to dig into what you're doing now. Get really good at it, so that when you are getting that promotion, you have the experience and the knowledge and the badge of honor that you've done it yourself, which I think is huge.
I do, but I will say, and this is very timely, because I was having a mentorship call with someone today, this morning, and she's so bright, she's so ambitious, and I asked her, I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was an assignment I gave her. I was like, from last time I talked, I want to know what you want to be. And she was talking about how she wants to grow to be a partnership leader. And then she gave me this like very, very long list of things that she felt like she needed to check before she would almost allow herself to take that next step. Right? So
her own barriers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, that you're putting a lot of red tape, and there's a lot of people who are going to say no to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you're saying no to you.
You're saying no to you. Like, ease up on yourself a little bit. You don't have to actually check every single, you know, box you're putting in front of yourself to grow and to develop. And it's like that like everything comes back to balance, right? It's like, okay, I need to be ambitious, but I also need to find joy in where I am now and dig deep to what I'm doing now, and trust
the process.
Trust those things will come together.
Those are really good 3-pointers. I think, to your first point, is documenting what you've done. What I found it do for me is, in times of uncertainty, when you challenging yourself, or everyone has those days where you're like, do I know what I'm doing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I the right person for this job? Those are the things I sometimes go back to.
Yeah.
And I take a screenshot to make it as easy as possible and put it in a folder. Like, if it's a Slack message from someone senior that said, like, you did an amazing job, love your attention to detail here, this is like tier 1 execution. Or if it's, you know, I did an update for someone and they said, this is incredible, like, keep going.
Yeah.
I look at those things and I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. I can do this. So it's a little, besides of using that for a point to get to the next role, I've saved, I think I have like 50 screenshots where I'm like, from CEOs and people I worked with in the past. It's a good ego boost that you can't get elsewhere. It's your evidence. Like, for type A personalities that want like solid proof, it's right there.
I need some data around me not sucking at my job
to help me move forward. So let's go back to the hot topic.
Yes.
You got the regional director role.
Yes.
You got the team. You got the momentum.
I got the baby.
You got the baby. You finally let go of the stress of having the baby. You have the baby. And now you get a call saying you have a new boss. Why do you decide to come back early? Like, what goes through your head?
Oh, because I'm a control freak. No, I mean, like, honestly, I felt I felt threatened. I felt like I was losing something that I just started building or just starting to really really do and saw it, and and I was so scared that that was going to be taken away from me by an outsider, right? And I just couldn't do that. I couldn't, I had my human baby, but there was my work baby, and my work baby was like being sent to a stranger all of a sudden.
And you have to navigate it with someone new that you don't know.
Rebuild anything. I think, honestly, it was, I don't want to say bored during mat leave. I think that's hard. But you know what? Like, maybe a little, right? Like, I'll just be real. I bet there's plenty of moms out there who...
It is a beautiful experience, but you miss the ambition. Like, that's the reality.
I couldn't, like, win at being a mom, you know? I couldn't close.
You're not getting an award end of the day.
Deal, like, he definitely always negotiates against me much better. So he always wins. But it was a feeling of loss. It was a feeling of uncertainty, and my reaction in those moments, and usually my action in those moments, is to do what I have to do to regain control of the situation. So, I spoke about it with my husband, and we had a good support plan, and I was like, put me back in, coach. I'm going in. I need to go, I don't know, explore, fight, understand what is going on with something I care really deeply about.
Yeah. Do you think, this is a bit of a controversial question, do you think your reaction would be different if it was a guy or a woman? Or do you think it would be the same?
That's a really good question. I think I still would have wanted to go back, but I would be lying if I didn't feel like a little extra spicy because it was a woman.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, yeah, it is. There wasn't a ton of other woman leadership in our group either, right? So it just like, it was curious that all of that was happening at the same time, but who cares? Like, who cares, But, I would be like, yeah, it did. It was like, who is this?
Yeah, I think it's
the seat at the table stuff, and it's bullshit. But
it's real. We if you look, this is something we're working on as a team at Rules to Thrive. Is if you think of keynotes, what's the first thought that comes to mind? Who's doing the keynotes?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So it's what we're trying to change is when we nominate people to do speaking opportunities, we nominate very strong leaders, and they are women. So we're trying to change that narrative.
Yep.
But I do see it. In my career, every big promotion I've had was with a guy.
Yeah.
A guy supporting it, and every petty thing that was happening was with a female boss. So it's, I don't think, I think there is a nature of competitiveness that happens, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about navigating it. So you come back.
Yeah.
Your hormones all over the place.
Not great.
Still.
Not great.
How do you navigate? Like, you're very organized. So how do you navigate?
I think I came back, I tried to be more present in the office. So I was working remotely. I lived far from the office, and it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes door to door. No matter any which way I tried to do it, it would always be at least 2 hours and 20 minutes. But really trying to like go in there, reconnect with the team, understand what's going on, reconnect with the partners, and sort of see where everything was. Like, I just wanted a general status check of like, hey, are we still doing good, or are we returning to
building, or what are we doing?
What are we doing, and what are we showing this new person that is coming in, right? So the first thing was just like reconnection. I think was my strategy. Sounds almost like devious about it, but it was just my first impulse was to reconnect with everything and everyone and figure out what's going on. And then secondly, I think it was getting to know you, right? I was like, okay, well, she is here. She's this person. I don't know her. And kind of getting a read on you. Like, is she here to bulldoze? Is she here to grow? Is she here, like, what is her...
What's the take here?
What's her MO? Like, who is she going to be, and how is this all going to work? Right? I had to swallow the fear, and I had to be brave about just also being vulnerable with you. And I think if I remember correctly, the first 3 months after you have a baby, it's very blurry. I think, we had many long conversations about what was going on and how we were going to do this.
Yeah.
And I really applaud you. You're awesome because you very early on recognized the precariousness, let me put it that way, of the situation. And then for our viewers at home, what made this whole experience extra wild and complicated, it was, if I'm not mistaken, days after October 7th that this happened.
No, it was my second week on the job.
It was your second week. I think we had came back in the same. So we had a 1 week where it was business as usual, not even, because it was my first week back at mat leave. And then it was October 7th.
Yeah.
And it was you and me.
Yeah.
It was like really you and me. And I think in a weird way, that traumatic experience and that even further distance we had from our headquarters because they were embroiled in war strengthened our bond and our understanding. And it was always coming at this situation with confidence in who I am, what I've done, pride in the work.
Yeah.
And an openness and vulnerability with you to just be like, what else? Like, what else can I do? And how are we, work with me? How are we going to do this together?
Yeah.
And I was lucky because it was you, and it was met with openness, also vulnerability. You were dropped into a new role. You were also like, hey, what is going on here?
Yeah.
A lot of conversations, a lot of text messaging.
Yeah.
Still today.
Good morning text is my favorite text of the day. I think it was just dealing with the trauma of the experience was to say, I know we have a lot to deal with in a day, but let's start with something positive. And that was the good morning, even if it's at 2 p.m.
Yeah, we do it at 7 p.m. sometimes. I'll get like a 7 p.m. Good morning.
It works. I think
it does work.
I haven't gone through maternity leave, so I could only imagine what you were going through. Yeah. And I think the number one thing was to creating the trust that I have your back and I'm not here to take your job. I think I had to be very, very clear to say that to you, and then understanding what you needed. And removing those blockers for you, because you do that for your team and I had to do that for you, and I needed to do that for you to trust me and that I'm there for you. And I think as any managers coming in, yes, you're painting the picture, you're building the vision, but trust with your team to me is essential. You can have as many visions as you want and strategies, and it'll be beautiful on a slide, but unless your team believes in it, you're going to leave in a year.
And I just mentioned the psychological safety, and I think when you think about the concept of psychological safety, you couldn't have it more battle tested in the experience that we had together. First few months of your onboarding, my re-onboarding, right?
Yeah.
And it was like having to really learn about each other, learn about how we're gonna, the manager report relationship is a symbiotic relationship, right? You need to take care of
your
each other, and no one's gonna take care of you and do any of the things that you want to do if you don't take care of your people. You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that was something that is, every study says that the number one thing teams need is psychological safety. And we're literally, coming out of mat leave, right? Team, company at war.
Now to think about it, that's insane.
Right? There's nothing safe.
I think we were going into elections.
Oh my God. Great. So it was truly, I think you're right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is it right? Anyway, it was every
Chef's
existential threat, every bad news. How are we going to do this? And
I think for me, I remember we started small. We said, you said to me, if you were to solve certain things for me, it would be, I live 2.5 hours away. I just had a baby. Our company is not pro-remote.
Right.
But if you were to support me based on my needs, I promise to be there when you need me to, but I need a remote job.
Yeah.
And that was something I had to take on, because to me, it made perfect sense. I was one of those outliers that was hired remotely. So to me, I felt like, well, first, I'm always for, no matter the company policy, I'm always for, if you get your job done, I don't care how you do it. I want you to have a life. I want you to build your life. Your job is your job, your ambition, but a life is much bigger than your job. So for me, it was a no-brainer. You know, I've managed many remote teams prior to Monday. So that was the first battle to take on, which was fun. But we won it together.
Yeah.
I think in that moment, you also had to be very vulnerable with me. The additional factor, which I think is also very hard for other people to talk about, was something you were dealing with, if you want to talk about it. And it's something personal. It's related to your health. And how do you incorporate that in a conversation?
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about that, because I think it's scary for a lot of people to discuss.
Yeah, you know, I've been thinking about coming up to this, you know, this interview and, you know, hanging out and doing this, like, oh, do I talk about it? Do I not talk about it? How do I talk about it? And I don't think I ever came up with an answer. So here we go, you know.
It's up to you.
It's cool. I think I think at this point in my life and my career, something that I have increasingly appreciated is when leaders, just like people, right, are just like straight up with what their personal challenges are. And I think it's a good moment for me to like become part of that club, right? Because I have been incredibly secretive. Like, you know, no one at Google knows this, right? Actually, I haven't disclosed this at all at Google. So here we go.
This is news.
Yeah, this is hot out of the press. But I have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed in 2013. And it was a really scary experience. I remember it was summer. I was having a lot of fun. I just started a great job. And I had this just like blurry spot in my eye that just like would not go away. It was just like this blurry spot in my vision. And it was driving me crazy. And I remember just being so frightened and telling my boyfriend, who's not my husband and, you know, father to my child at the time, being like, I have a brain tumor. Like, I'm sure I have a brain tumor. I wasn't kidding. Like, I was terrified. Went through all the steps, got the diagnosis, which takes a really long time. And then figuring out how now to integrate this new identity into my existing identity and how much of that identity I wanted it to be, right? Or how much of my identity I wanted that to be. And I think for my personal preference, right, is something that I have kept as close as possible to the chest, because no one wants to be judged. No one wants to have people make assumptions about who you are, what you're capable of. Like, that just lights me on fire, you know? But there are certain, well, I don't even say limitations. There are ways that I need to take care of myself and protect myself to ensure that I am healthy and vibrant and able and capable. Yeah. And increasingly, as I've gotten older, I've made more like non-negotiables about them. Yeah. And doing a 2.5 hour commute
was not an option.
Each way, 3 days, was breaking a non-negotiable for me. And I continue on that path. And I know, as the reality of this disease, is that it's, you know, like those non-negotiables are going to have to become more serious, and they're going to change and they're going to grow. And I
what are they for you?
Rest is a big one for me. Like, I need to make sure that I rest, and when I'm tired, I listen to my body and I am able to take the rest that I need. Really extensive travel for me. I love to travel. You know that. I love going on I love it. I do. I absolutely love it. But it really wears me down. Like, I need to do it and make the most out of any trip that I take. Yeah. So another non-negotiable is like, if I am doing a trip, it has an incredible business purpose. Yeah. And I feel that way about all in-person things at this point in my life. Like, we can be incredibly efficient remotely. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, we can do so much and accomplish so much on computer screens. That said, there is also a beauty that is not like, you can't repeat it, right? By being in person too.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do the in-person thing, it needs to be with such intention, right?
Yes. So I think this is really, really important. I don't think people talk about this enough. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So when we solved little problem at a time to build the trust together, I think I'd love to hear your perspective. Like what else, what steps took for you to really start trusting and really just see that we are not competing and I am here to support you. What else was needed to inspire other leaders that are managing maybe peers? Like how do you build that trust to remove the competitiveness?
Well, I think it's almost flipped, right? It's not what I did, it's what you did, right? And it's what I saw and what I felt versus like what I did to make myself feel better about the situation. So you helping me solve the work from home situation really built so much credibility and trust and faith, right? And I think something else, like, I don't know if like we had like, if a lot of people get this story, Olga, you know, like that's like the sad part for me. And I hope that there's everyone in the comments will be like, you're wrong, like this is great. But the way you approached work and the way that you so quickly cared about the business and wanted to understand the business and the passion that you had for the work also was really exciting. And I think a way to negate everything I just said that really helped me kind of move beyond the like a power dynamic or feeling like, you know, I didn't have a place at the organization, I was going to step out. It was that the collaborative nature and how I felt like now I really had more of a partner in crime to do this work and care about the work that we were doing in Northam.
Yeah.
Was like fun.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
it
we
was
were building.
Fun.
Yeah.
We're taking this, you know, this thing that was working. And I said this a million times. I said, and just like, you came in and you helped us throw gasoline on it, right?
But I think there's something to it for any leader, and I think you're experiencing this too. Sometimes, if you're not secure in your capabilities, you want to come in and repeat a playbook.
Right.
Without understanding how the business works. And I've seen it. I've seen it from CROs to CMOs, you name it, CEOs, because they think they know better.
Right.
And I think the lesson I've learned, and I've learned this in very early in my career, I think I got to be a VP and report to a CEO, and I flopped because I came into play with a playbook that worked for me before, and it just crashed on me.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big lesson that I learned. I'm like, no, you cannot come in and repeat a playbook. You have to understand the business. You have to understand the people, and you have to appreciate the experience they went through to build to where they've built. And then you have to understand what you remove as a leader. And I think that was a big thing that I wanted to really implement here. And you had so much vast experience and such a strong vision that we're still executing today. And I think it's very relevant, you know, to understand the business first.
Right. Must understand. And I love this. This is something that I thought was really cool. You set up that like 3-day, everybody had to come in and present their business, not just the partnership team, right?
Yeah.
But
everyone that touched the business.
Everyone that touched the business and get your read and like learn. And this was your, you know, baptism by fire to hear all the different parts of the business.
Okay, let's pivot. So we go through our turbulences. We have an incredible year, and we double what was done the year before. Crazy growth, amazing growth. And then I get a surprise call right before Christmas that you're leaving. So it was clear to me, just for the audience, I knew you were very ambitious. I knew I had to lift you up, whether it's monetary or title. And at the time, I was a bit limited. So I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
But take me through your thinking. Like, you're in the role that you've dreamt about.
Yep.
You have a new boss. We're thriving. What makes you want to go for more, and how do you approach it? And just take me through it.
One thing that when I reflect back into my career, a common denominator is when I'm the most happy is when I'm in the shit, right? Like I love a mess. I love lack of structure. I love coming in and cleaning something up. I love organizing. Yep. I love putting processes into place. And I came to this sort of natural point in my career at Monday, and I kind of like looked at the body of work and like looked at the people and saw
the opportunity.
Saw how successful they were and how self-sufficient they were and how they were just these incredible masters of their domain or just, you know, it was lovely, but I felt honestly a little bored, right? We had like, there's always another mountain to climb. Yeah. Of course, there's always challenges, but that mountain I started at the bottom of in 2020, I felt at that point in time, I finally got to the top of it. Yeah. And I wasn't like actively looking. It wasn't like I was on LinkedIn all day or talking to recruiters or anything like that. But I remember very specifically, I was going to go visit my best friend in San Francisco. She had just had her baby. And was at the airport and just like flipping through, like looking at LinkedIn, not even looking for a job, but they showed like jobs, and I saw head of partner sales at Google Workspace, and I was like, whoa,
that's the dream job.
Whoa, I was like, holy moly, I think that's the job. And I remember saying, oh, I think this is a job. Yeah. And I had hit up 2 people I knew who worked at Google and sent them my resume and was like, refer me in. I sent 2 people because that's how like connected I felt to this opportunity. And the description was great, by the way, because the description was, come be an entrepreneur. We're like rebuilding partnerships for Workspace, build a team, build a strategy, lead from strategy to execution. Yeah. It sounded like
everything you've done.
Yeah, my job. Yeah. 3 years ago or how many years ago, right?
But at Google.
But at Google.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I was, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
let's give it a shot.
Let's go try that.
Yeah.
And I sent them my resume, and I take off. I land in San Francisco. I open my email, and I have a note from a recruiter from Google, like, hey,
wow,
we would love to talk to you about this job. And to this day, I don't know if they reached out to me or it was because of the referral that they're in. And because I said something along the lines of like, oh, I asked just 2 people to refer me in. I don't know if they sent in the referral at that point. But anyway, it was like this moment that just felt so kismet. I was just, is this a job? Am I going to get this crazy job at Google?
Yeah.
Went through the process, long process of something, you know, to buckle in for at any of the, I'm sure like FANG companies, right? It's a very long 6-week process. And Google has a very interesting, as people know, interview process and approach to interviewing. And I felt really good for 2, really weak at 1. And long story short, I got the offer, and I was so excited, and I was so proud of myself. You know, I was really, really proud of myself.
Yeah.
And had to say yes, right? It was the
job.
The job.
Yeah. I remember when you called me.
I was so nervous. I felt so bad. I was sitting in my guest room. I was like,
you thought I'd be mad at you. I remember that.
I thought I didn't want to disappoint you, right? That's what
you did the opposite. I just remember. I'm like, I'm totally fucked. That's the reality.
That was your first thing you said was, fuck.
Yeah. But at the same time, as a human, I felt so proud of you.
Oh, sweet.
Because I think, you know, if you think of dream jobs, and there's not a lot, especially once you get to the higher level, it's very few and far in between opportunities that you go for. And I think for me, it felt like a very proud moment where I knew you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I knew you believed in your vision and ability to execute. And I've seen you get into it very comfortably over the year that we worked together. And I felt like I witnessed that transition for you. Like, you were always confident in your work, but I think there was an angle that came in that was very different. You were confident, but also you were sure. There's confidence in knowing you can do it, but there's also being sure that you've done it. And I think you seeing that through with the work we've done together and the work you owned, I think that helped you build that confidence going after your dream job. So I remember you said something to me that I'll cherish forever. And you said, you made me believe in myself that I went after my dream job, which I think as a manager is the best thing you could ever hear.
I think the last year I had at Monday and the work that we did and what we were able to accomplish, I always knew and had many examples, right, of how I have done these things before. It's not like Monday was my first partnership job, you know? Yeah. But there was just something so cheesy, but like so special and so real and so impactful. Also, the time and place Monday was and is, right, as a company. So exciting. And I had not had very many good examples of women leaders who walk the walk and talk the talk, right? I have, with the exception of a manager who I had at Monday for a very short amount of time, who I really loved, and she was a great person, but it was quick in and out. I never had a female boss. I've never had a woman's boss.
Yeah, it's rare, especially in senior leadership. To wrap up this interview, my favorite question to ask, and if you have any others, I'll take them. What are your 3 rules to thrive?
Okay, so rule number 1, we actually already talked about it, and it is something that helps me all the time, which is there's 3 sides to every story, right? Truth is subjective. And the more you remember that there's 3 sides at a minimum to every story and that truth is subjective, so much weight just gets taken off of you. It's like so much weight can be taken off of you trying to be the decider of the truth, because you're never going to be. Everybody has their own truth.
Yep.
So I think that, I live that, I breathe that, because it removes that weight that prohibits you from thriving. Secondly is get shit done. Like, I have very minimal patience for not getting shit done, for people who do not get shit done. Like, it's AWS has, what is it? Have a bias for action.
Extreme ownership and bias
for action. I love that phrase. I love that phrase, bias for action. It's better to do things imperfectly than not do anything at all perfectly, right? Like, just that also, I think, puts a ton of weight off my shoulders too, because if I know I'm trying something, I'm doing something, again, I'm doing, right? That feels good to me. And then I think my third one, which I say a lot and been telling a lot of people, is also remembering that at the end of the day, careers are long, life is short. Keep that in perspective. Keep that in perspective.
I love it. You did so well. Am I missing any questions?